Freddy's. Feeling his lips tip upward in the smallest of smiles, Mike turned away from the drawing. He returned to the table and poured Abby's milk. The milk sloshing into the glass made a glug-glug sound that acted as a catalyst, snatching Mike from the present and plunking him back in his childhood. In his mind, he was watching milk fill a different glass, his own glass. Mike looked up from the glass, and he saw his mom set down the milk carton and sit across from him. She smiled at him and lifted both arms to join hands with Garrett and Mike's dad. At the same time, Garrett and Mike's dad took Mike's hands. Joined, the family bowed their heads. Mike blinked, and he was back in the present. Mike reached for Abby's hand, and she took it. Sharing a brief smile, they bowed their heads and closed their eyes. Abby spoke. "Thanks for this food. And everything else. Amen." Short and sweet, Mike thought. He squeezed Abby's hand, but he didn't let go of it. Fancifully, Mike wondered briefly what the tip-top of the setting sun, almost gone now, was seeing as it peeked in through their window. He imagined the scene from the sun's perspective. Brother and sister, holding hands, heads bowed, holding the moment, because it was a perfect one. For this moment, Mike and Abby were happy. Epilogue. The blonde boy moved through Freddy's like he was giving a tour. To nobody. Caught in shadow upon shadow, the rooms hunkered within the protective walls of the old restaurant. The empty lobby, posters still bare of glass. The long hallway, with more glassless posters. The security office, its monitors lit up, but no one watching them. The kitchen, all shiny and still. The parts and service room, a mess of robot parts, and empty metal chairs. And, of course, the dining room, where the animatronics stood rigid on the barely lit stage. Everything was totally quiet. The blonde boy went on down the back hallway. All the doors along the hall were closed, except for one at the very end. The blonde boy went through the door into a small, hardly more than closet-sized, room. He looked at where light from the hallway landed on the room's bare, dusty checkerboard floor, and beyond that to the yellow rabbit slumped in a corner. The rabbit was reclined against the mildewed cement block wall. Not a rabbit. A man. A man in a horrible costume. A twitching man, slouched in a massive spread of blood. It was rust-colored, dried blood that was stuck to the floor. Maybe forever. The boy watched the man from the doorway, taking satisfaction in the man's suffering. The boy wanted that suffering to go on as long as the stain on the floor. Maybe longer. The boy backed out of the room. He closed the door, sealing the yellow rabbit into a black, black prison. This is Susanna Lease Freeman. We hope that you have enjoyed this production of Five Nights at Freddy's, the official movie novel, adapted by Andrea Wagoner, based on the video game series Five Nights at Freddy's by Scott Cawthon. Screen story by Scott Cawthon and Chris Lee Hill and Tyler McIntyre. Screenplay by Scott Cawthon and Seth Cuddeback and Emma Tammi. Film directed by Emma Tammi. This audiobook was produced at Dion Audio and directed by Laura Kiswati. Executive producer, Melanie Gagne. Print edition published by Scholastic Inc. Text copyright 2024 by Scott Cawthon. Production copyright 2024 by Scholastic Inc. All rights reserved.